Welcome back to the Truvix Podcast, where real estate pros and smart tech meet. I'm Marcus, and my guest today is Tally Brinzey, founder of Summit Properties International in Charlotte, North Carolina. She came from the investment banking asset management, jumped into real estate in 2007, 2008, and now leads a lean team managing commercial and residential with a love for commercial. Now, she splits time between Charlotte and St. Augustine, Florida, and she's big on pairing process plus personal touch. Taly, welcome.
Thank you so much, Marcus. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Now, Taly, give us a quick story. So from investment banker to property management, what flipped the switch in those?
So it wasn't just to property management, but rather real estate. So I was working in investment. I was used to be an investment advisor. And in October of 2007, I did not like the way the graphs were looking. I just wasn't super happy. But I was telling to myself, something's going to give soon. Now, obviously, I did not know the future, which I did, but I could tell that something big was going to happen. So I put my clients into cash. Now, in investment banking, cash portfolios don't produce income for the revenue, neither for the client, of course, but also not for the bank, nor for myself, of course, as an advisor. But I really thought that was the right thing to do. I thought something was happening and we were better off kind of coming to shore, so to speak, getting cash. Now, my boss calls me up and says, "What the hell are you doing?" And I tell him, well, I just feel that something's going to happen and this is the best thing to do for my clients. And he says, "Oh, so you think you know more than our analysts?" Now, well, not really, but I do know that as a fiduciary advisor for my clients, I'm supposed to put my clients' interests first, and I believe this is the best. So anyway, long story short, I said, you know what, I think we can agree to disagree, and I think the best solution here is for me to leave. So I left. I did not go to another bank, and therefore I was the only former advisor ever invited to a Christmas party. Now, that is a big, big deal in investment banking. Christmas parties with all the clients are a big deal. But I wasn't leaving. It was just an issue of opinions of that, opinion on what's going to happen and so forth. And I was not going to another bank. I was there. Now, fast forward. Okay, so sorry. Almost as soon as I left, a friend of my family had purchased the rights for YOO. That's a Philip Stark and John Hitchcock joint venture. They were doing high-end condos. And my family friend had purchased the rights for South America. He was building a unit in Punta del Este, beautiful Uruguay, where I'm from. And he says, "Taly, I want you to be my sales director." And I'm like, "Joseph, I appreciate it, but I mean, it's investments that I know about investments, not real estate." He says, "Oh, don't worry, you'll learn it fast. I want you." So first I said, "No, thank you." About a week or so later, he comes back, says, "Taly, we want you. So what is it going to take?" And so I agreed to join, but I made a big mistake. Negotiated the fixed part of my salary instead of negotiating the amount of commission. Why do I say made a big mistake? Because we sold 182 condominiums in 42 days. Insane. We had a team of 4 salespeople. It was incredible. I mean, I was working about 9 a.m. to about 12 a.m. every night, every day. It was insane. It was crazy. But I was the only one who could sign contracts. And even though I had a team of 4, but I still had to read and sign and so forth. So anyway, I fell in love. Long story short, I fell in love with real estate. While this is happening, we all know what happened during that winter, right? Don't have to remind anybody of that. So one of my clients calls me and says, "Hey, Taly, I appreciate you really." This is March. Fast forward to March, April. He says, "I appreciate you. You really saved me a ton of money because I would have lost half of my portfolio. And it wasn't a small portfolio." So he says, thank you. But at this point we are in, my cash has been my portfolio has been in cash for 6 months. And what am I going to do? So anyway, he says he invites me to go to Chile, sit down with him. And long story short, he is my business partner. He has been my business partner since April of 2008. So we come up with Summit Properties International. The idea was to figure this out. This is March, April of 08. Everything is falling apart. So we create a real estate investment company where we only collect a percentage of our clients' net gains, whether it be by rental or by sales, but our income depends directly on our client's income. Our clients own the real estate, we simply manage it. And our payment is a percentage of their gain. So we start working with that. We started working in commercial, and I've always loved commercial. Then in 2012, in 2012, the opportunities in residential were incredible. And so we start getting into residential, buying rental units in Charlotte. And what happened was that rental units depend on management. I mean, for commercials also, but depends on what. Sometimes you buy a triple net. We were buying mostly triple net. So we didn't really need, those properties don't really need that much management. I mean, asset management, but not much more than that. But in residential, you clearly need good property manager. We hired a couple, we fired a couple. And then it's like, you know what? If you want something done well, do it yourself. So here we go. So we started the company, so then we started the property management company. By 2017, 18, we were up to about 300 properties. At that point, mostly residential, and a few commercial. We had, basically our property management was just taking care of our own, of our clients' properties. At that point, we decided if we did a mark to market, if we did a mark to market plus considering that costs, maintenance costs, management costs, etc., were going up, the caps were falling a lot. When we bought them, these were all cash purchases, and we were having caps of about 12%, just from rental. And then by 2018, thereabouts, they were falling under 10, 9, even thereabouts. And that was without considering the mark to market. So once we brought I'm not sure if you know what we're talking about, the mark to market, basically bringing the value of the asset to where it was at that time. So then if we consider that, we purchased it at, say, 30,000, they were pretty inexpensive at that time. Now they're worth 60,000. And the rents used to be $500. Now they're 700, but it's just not that it just didn't make sense. So we decided to sell. We decided that, obviously in consultation with our clients, and most of them agreed to start selling. We started selling, and then at the same time, we picked up new clients, because otherwise we were selling ourselves out of a business too, since we were selling those assets, right? So we did well, our clients did well, everybody did great. And in the meantime, we got new clients. So that's when, and we figured that we were just going to do that while we waited for the next investment opportunity. Now, obviously, I wish we hadn't sold, because then the pandemic came along, shut up way more than they had. But, you can't go back on decisions. I know why we made them. Obviously, with hindsight, it makes 2020. So would I do it differently? Yes. However, with the information I had, would I make the same decision? Probably. And with the information I had at the time. So anyway, long story short, we have built the management company, property management company, asset management company. I think what separates us is that we're always doing it from an investment portfolio, from a frame of mind point of view. We look at it as the investors. So we always want to make sure that what's the most important, what we put is the return. The ROI is the most important thing that we're looking at, short and long term.
Okay.
Make sense?
Nah, that makes absolutely great sense, because I was going to ask you, the lessons that you learned from finance how did that guide you into manage assets today? And you kind of touched on it.
But I think that another thing I'd like to add to that is that when being in finance, you look at numbers, right? Most of the people who are in management or real estate have more of an idea of buildings or building and decor and that kind of stuff. Which honestly I am painfully unaware and terrible at. But I am good at numbers. I can't see. I just don't see what's the returns. I mean, whether the building has 2 or 3 windows, I couldn't tell you. But and I go to a building, and unless I take a picture, I do not remember what kind of floor covering there is. It's just, I guess we all have our strengths, right? But I can tell you what's going to make sense, from a return point of view. I do understand that we have to maintain properties, understand what the highest and best use for a property is today and in the future, when it makes sense to redevelop it, when it makes sense to maintain it. And also, for example, one of the things that we do a little different is like, we want to, if a tenant is behind on rent, if it's the first time, it doesn't make sense to kick them out. As long as you can work with them, it makes more sense. Now, obviously, if it's a tenant that keeps falling behind, then that's not going to work, right? I mean, eventually you have to cut. But we'd like to look at, okay, so it's every time you have to get somebody out, apart from the cost, it's going to be, you're going to have to take them out. Going to have to turn the property, refresh the property at the very latest, and you are going to have a little bit of vacancy, even if the market absorbs it almost immediately. There's still 30 days. So in all that impacts the returns for our clients. So we look at it that way.
Okay. So you're on the more of a numbers,
Absolutely, 100%.
straight numbers.
But
which
one
makes
thing that's
sense.
important, Marcus, is that it's numbers, but something you say, well, is it short term? No, it's also long term. Also, it isn't. It is 100% numbers. But I mean, think about it. If you don't paint a property, eventually you're going to have leaks. It's going to look terrible. So the upkeep of a property, I don't see it as an expense. You see it as an investment.
Yeah. And I was talking to somebody that was saying that the pools within properties, sometimes property or owners will skimp on servicing that pool, but okay, spend money now because that's going to last you longer instead of waiting till it breaks and spending more money.
And if you don't spend it, you can spend 1 today or 20 tomorrow. I mean, and pools is a great example of that. But it goes to everything, whether it be gutters. I mean, gutters. If you don't clean the gutters, they spoil it. Plus, a gutter that gets clogged is going to end up having damage on the roof and on the. So anyway, so stuff like that. Yeah, you got to maintain. It may, I don't know, just from cleanliness to paint to. Well, I mean, a pool is a great example. What I always say is either you maintain it or just get rid of it, because otherwise it's going to cost you a lot of money.
That is true. So how do you convince the owners to do preventive maintenance?
Well, a lot of it has to do with trust. So we get a new client, and of course, trust is earned, right? So at the beginning, when I want to do some kind of maintenance, and I get it, I understand expenses, and I do, because they cut into the bottom line. So we try to do them at the best possible cost. In our company, what we do is we hire good people, we pay them, we negotiate on price, but we always pay well. So we pay on time. And that's kind of like, it's like, okay, listen, I am going to be tight on how much I pay, but I am going to be paying you as soon as the work is done. So at least you know that we're not going to drag you along, right? So we do try to get the best prices and quality. And then honestly, it's just explaining to the clients why we believe this needs to get done. Sometimes, honestly, think most of the times I think, except for very counted occasions, most of our clients do agree that yes, we should do this. Because we make a good point, and it's not, honestly, we don't want to throw money away. We don't enjoy. It's not just do it for fun. There got to be a good reason. I'll give you an example. So we took over a mixed center. It's retail and office, more office than retail. In North Carolina here in Lake Park. It was about 65% leased, and it had never been more than 80% leased in its 20-year history. Now, when you walked into it, you looked like you were walking back to 1979. The colors, just to give you an idea, the floor was like some green plastic tiles.
Oh yeah, I can. Okay, okay. That's a good, great visual. Great visual. Okay.
Place hadn't been painted in 20 years, or I don't know. I mean, at least a very very long time. It looked old. It looked like you stepped back into 1979. I don't know, everything was old, just worn, just old, just dinky looking. So we went in, and we talked to the existing tenants to see what their pain points were. They did. Honestly, it was kind of easy to fix because most of it was just janitorial, landscaping, things that it's not too hard to fix. Just change the suppliers, change the people to work with, and some work orders. There was one tenant that had an electric short for 3 months, and the previous company hadn't done anything about it. We were like, I think we took care of it that same day. I was like, this is a fire hazard. This is going to be done yesterday. Anyway, so we listened to these things, and then we started fixing that. Then as soon as we started getting a little more cash flow in, I was able to talk to the owner, and they let me, with the cash flow, they allowed us to change the flooring, to paint, to pressure wash, anyway, long story short, 4 months later, we had it fully.
Wow, that's the testimony.
And she loves us so much so that they have some property undeveloped, some land beside it that now we are developing for her.
Okay.
And she said, because we're so happy with our work, she says, it's like, oh, you're so cool. It's like, no, it's not. I just do what we say we do. It's not people say, so what do you do differently? Honestly, it's not rocket science. It's just actually following through and doing it. You go to leasing. So we actually answer the phone. Wow. What a surprise. People call us, we answer the phone. We, when we advertise, for some reason, many commercial brokers today are putting rental available upon request. I really don't get it. I don't see the strategy behind that. We never, I don't do that. Why? Because if I am going to be looking for a space and it says that, I don't even look at it twice. Or price available upon request. No, tell me how much you're paying, how much you're asking for it anyway. And then I'll see if it's within kind of my range. And then I can call, and then we can always negotiate, right? But I won't call, and I'm not really sure if it's what the reason is why so many other practitioners are doing it, but I don't agree. So we don't do that. So
that's
advertising.
No, I'm saying that's like a resistance. When you make it harder for somebody to get the information, some people are like, okay, like you, I'm gonna move on.
Exactly. So that, I don't know, people called and we answer. We have work with their brokers. If they come with if they come an agent, we of course we will work with them. We let them show the property. If it's a vacant property and they're working with a broker, why would I not give them the code and let them show it themselves? And obviously, if it's a client that's not represented, then fine, I will show it, or somebody from my staff. But if they have representation, absolutely. And we have agreed to show property on the weekends. We have agreed to show property after hours. After all, especially commercial property. Commercial property is, your clients are business owners. Business owners are working. I mean, I hope they're working because that's how they make money to make money to pay the rent, right? So that kind of stuff. That's what we do. We walk the property ourselves, and it's different. We're a small team, small but mighty. We like to say that you let technology do the heavy lifting, and we do the personal. So we can do, we're in touch, like high touch, high tech.
Speaking of tech, what type of tech are you using?
I love AI. I wish I could say that we're using it to its full potential. It's not true, but we are working toward it. We love it. We use Appfolio. It's a software, which honestly, it's a great software. And so we use Appfolio a lot we kind of run the company on it. We have stayed away from the prop tech at this point, except for cameras and that kind of stuff that we are doing. But we still have that high touch. For example, when somebody wants to see a property, I just don't feel comfortable giving them a code. I know how it works. I know it's safe, but I want us or somebody from my staff or somebody to actually go there, open the door, to have a conversation. That's how we define the high touch. Now, once we've shown it to them, then the rest of the process is done online. It's done electronically. We obviously finance. Sometimes I hear some, especially older folks, who they're afraid of technology and they want to give you a check. And I was like, oh my God, I've had more issues, more fraud with checks way more fraud with checks than with any technology. If you are careful, I mean, yes, there is a possibility, but if you follow instructions, the technology is a lot safer. As long as you follow, if you want to send a wire, make sure you call the bank, make sure you get everything right. We've had issues, but I don't know. The snails, I detest snail mail. So much communication that can be done and process that can be done electronically, the better. Now, I do believe AI has a huge potential, both in, we use it a lot for communications, for looking at potential properties, for other research. I think there's so much more that we could do with it, and I can't wait to do much more.
Okay, so when you say much more, what are you hoping it can do for you?
Pricing, for example. Pricing, we already do it. Prospecting, I would like for it to do more prospecting for us. Both lead generation from clients as well as on tenants. In other words, both on properties and then on filling those properties.
So you'll be the middle person. So what can AI and automation save time right now in property management, like the save time portion, and where must humans still step in? And I know you mentioned not using prop tech, going to the property yourself, but where can the AI and automation save time?
Well, probably, fraud is always a threat that we have to look at. For example, AI can help you figure out that the person is actually who they are, and that we've been working. Appfolio actually has included that, and we're using it. Every process from, for example, on maintenance, how a work order comes in, who it gets routed to, where the pricing is from the vendor is correct or not, or is out of order, the timing, I think all those processes could be automated with AI. Same thing with obviously listing the property, taking a look, putting it all over the place, answering questions. We are on the way to doing that. We're still communicating mostly. So we do have some automated messaging. The AI, I think, would be great in handling communications. Maybe not showing it so we can see it. We can meet at some point. We want to meet the prospect, but everything else, even qualifications, also. Whether if it's a business owner, take a look at where they have been, etc., right? I don't know. I mean, I think there's probably many more things that I haven't even thought about. Insurance, protection, I don't know, a lot of things.
Yeah, that's some definitely good insight. You're actually the second person to mention the fraud AI using to detect the fraud within the property management business.
Really?
Yeah,
Good.
you're actually the second person that mentioned that.
Because, we had one case of this was in residential, but we had a case of a identity theft did actually scam us. And we rented to one person. There's somebody else supposedly rented it to one person. There was somebody else living there. Now, it only happened once, but it drove us absolutely crazy because it's like, how did we miss it? And then you look back and you see where you made some mistakes. And obviously, I mean, like we say, we always make mistakes. The goal is to avoid making the same ones and try not to happen next time, right? And then, well, almost at that point, then we came out. Actually, it came out in the I think it was realtors that the identity theft scams and fraud had actually increased something like 7,000% in the last year. It's insane. You really, really have to be in property management. Now, that is worse in residential than commercial, because commercial, it's a little more, it's a little different. So it is you get to know the people more, you get to see their businesses, their business plan, etc. It's a little, not saying that it wouldn't happen, but not as common place. But in residential, it's insane. So we're doing everything we possibly can, including AI and including folio, and just want to make sure that it doesn't happen. One time, however, this has been a few years. This was pre-AI. We had a person who had applied for a beautiful property. Our leasing agent looked at that because we have our processes that people have to apply first, not pay for the application, but just submit an application with an ID and so forth. Then we show it. And then if they want to move forward, then they pay and so forth. And we do the background. But in this case, this person had submitted an application. When our leasing agent had gone to meet this person, it was saying, this doesn't make sense. This does not look like the person who submitted the application. He actually kept digging and he actually uncovered an identity theft. The person who submitted the application is an accountant from Georgia, and these people had stolen their identity and were about to move into a townhome. So with the victim, we contacted the FBI because it was in interstate, right? This was Georgia, North Carolina. So anyway, long story short, we helped nab this guy. That was just an issue of a hunch, something that just did not feel right. Now AI can do this for us, and I would hope that it avoids us from having any, or at least to minimizing it at the most. I would love to have zero going forward. We had only once in 18 years. We only had one. I hope we don't have another one. It really hurt. It hurt our pride.
Yeah, it definitely does hurt. And I've had one, because my background is real estate. So I had somebody try to sell somebody else's land. So they're rampant.
They are rampant. It's crazy, and it's gotten worse and worse and worse. And we have to be vigilant. I also had a closing in real estate. I was representing the seller, and the buyer did not follow the prompts from the attorney, for the closing attorney. I mean, those emails were it was actually bold red with a black underneath. I mean, it was just, come on, how more bold can you make it? The attorney was making it super bold, but the buyer did not follow the prompts and wired something like $60,000 of fraud. And it was crazy. I mean, and they did not recover the money. They were able to get some more money. I pitched in, the seller pitched in, the buyer's agent, everybody was like, okay. I mean, it was like, come on, let's make this happen. We all felt bad for the person. I mean, it was a mistake, but you have to be vigilant and follow instructions and be careful, really.
Yeah, that exact scenario happened with me and my client, where again, big bold letters: do not wire anything that you didn't get from the title company. And the exact same thing, they wired it to a person at closing, and I was representing the buyer,
No.
and it was I want to say he wired his closing cost 15,000. So I ended up saying, okay, I'll give up, some of my commission. I gave $10,000 after closing, so they can close on the house. And I was like, wow, it is. If you saying the same thing that happened to you, it happened to me. And
it happens. It's crazy. I wish people understood the importance of being careful. I just tell them, I was like, please don't wire anything. Call me. Just please don't do it don't send any money without it. But anyway, that being said, go ahead.
Oh, now I was gonna say, so you have a team of 4, correct?
Mm-hmm. That is correct.
Okay, and you guys have 150 doors or so?
Yes, that is
in
correct.
the property management. And
it's
then
actually about 200. Hang on, 150 plus. We manage 3 HOAs, so it's about 230 with the HOAs and everything.
Okay. All right. So what is your goal? Are you plan on growing the company?
Absolutely. We want to blow the roof off, like they say. Now, I want to grow in everything. So HOAs, we take it slowly because they take too much work. So we were very, very selective. I want to continue grow, especially on commercial. I love commercial. We are good. The success we had over at Lake Park, I know that we can replicate that. So we actually want to grow our goal, for what's left of this year and next year is to grow by 50 units.
50? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Commercial.
Okay.
Commercial.
Okay.
I am looking at talking with a couple of people. One has 4 units and one that just has 1. But anyway, we welcome them. We work about an hour, give or take an hour, from Charlotte and St. Augustine, Florida. Our strong area is the Charlotte metro area. That's where we have most of the resources, the vendors, the history, the contacts. We can obviously lease and manage and sell and buy too. I mean, we do all of it. We're helping development now. We're getting to that now. That is new for us. But at the behest of our client, or a very happy client, we are learning. And like you say, it's trust. I think that's the key. What differentiates us is trust. We earn it, and then we have it. Just our agreement, our management agreement, both commercial and residential, has a 30-day notice for termination, which that means basically, yeah, of course we sign a 1-year agreement that's self-renewing. But at any point in time, for any reason or no reason, they can give us a 30-day notice and we're out of there. Now, with that, you would say, well, do people leave? No. I think our average client is about 4 or 5 years average that we've had. There's some new ones. Most of the people who leave is because they sold their property. Actually, pretty much all. I can't remember the last one who left us. There was one that had about 4 properties, but it wasn't working. And that's been what, 4 years? 3-4 years. That last time that they left, other than selling the property. But we have that door is always open. So it's a matter of trust and that they choose to work with us. I'm been married almost 28 years. And yes, of course, I'm married legally and everything. I think it's about in the same way. It's kind of you choose your spouse every day. And you should, well, I mean, obviously there's days that I would kill him, but I guess it happens to everybody. But then the next day you make peace, right? in the same way, it's hopefully not wanting to kill me, but with your manager, it's somebody that you choose, that you continue to choose
Month over month. So
month over month.
That's why the 30 days.
And it's your choice. Yeah. And we have to continue maintaining, earning that trust. And I believe we do. And if we don't, then hell, just fire us. It's 30 days, we're out.
Yeah.
No obligation. We're not going to hold anybody to not working with us. But I love it when people do stay and they refer some other friends. We've even had tenants. So I have a tenant, a commercial tenant we placed not too long ago. And it's a couple. So one of the people rented with us. The other one has a salon and they rent somewhere else. They have their salon at another space. And they called me, says, Tally, can you help us, please? We're having issues with the landlord. And I don't know, and I know that you know this, and what can we do? So even though it's not, I was like, hey, let us manage that space, then you'll be treated very fairly. But the fact that they reach out to us because they know that we treat people the way we want to be treated. It's just golden rule, right?
Yeah, there's the golden rule. That's the golden rule, old school rule, and I agree with that.
And that's what we do. And it's
Simple.
like, hey, it's just, are we perfect? No, we're not. But we treat people the way we want to be treated. We do it the way we'd want it to be done to us. Simple. So my ideal client is a property owner, a person who has property. Well, as I said, both, but love commercial. It's my who owns property, who either has been self-managing it or has another company that maybe isn't being as proactive as we might be. Somebody whose property maybe is not as well kept as you can see it in occupancy. If your occupancy in the Charlotte metro area is not 100% or very close to that, then you're doing something wrong. Either your pricing is off, you're not being as proactive, that maybe the property is not kept. I don't know. There's something wrong. Charlotte's a growing market. Property is at demand. If you're having vacancy that doesn't get filled, if you're having ongoing vacancy, then give us a call. That's my ideal client.
Okay. So if you had to win 5 new commercial doors in 60 days, what's your short-term plan?
Contact people, ask for referrals. We have looked at leads, but they haven't worked. I don't know. I'm not so convinced. I believe it's more of a how do we get to the person, to the decision maker, to the one who's having pain. The pain is the property is not performing like it should. Maybe they feel it, like our client in Lake Park. By the time she came to us, we were in the 3rd management company since they had it. She was hoping to get somewhere around 85, 90. She didn't even think that we could achieve 100. Yes, you can. We will. So how am I going to get more clients? Again, reaching out, asking anybody who's listening here, tell your friends, call me, reach out, send an email, or whatever. We are very reachable, and just listen. Give us an opportunity to try, and you're not gonna go back. We have that 30-day notice. So if you don't like it, you can go back, but you won't. I can guarantee that.
Now I like to do a lightning round.
All right.
So 6 quick hitters, fun and fast. Okay.
All right, let's do it.
All right. Number 1, Charlotte food spot you send out of towners to.
Charlotte food spot we send New Zealand Cafe. It's okay, go ahead. Sushi spot called New Zealand Cafe in a little strip mall. Okay. Never, but it's great.
All right. 1 property management myth you wish would disappear.
That it can't be done. That you are going to have vacancy. No, you don't have to.
Email, phone, or text from tenants. Pick one.
From tenants? Email or text?
Or phone. Oh, well, email or text. Email
number 1, text number 2.
Okay. A business book you actually finished.
Who Moved My Cheese?
Okay, I heard it.
It's a good one. It's a short and good one.
Mm-hmm. You can't live without workplace gadget or app.
Phone. Well, I mean, my phone, which is my life. Within my phone, WhatsApp.
Now, if Commercial PM had a slogan, yours will be,
we can get it done.
All right. Thank you, Taly. Now, today we learned how Taly went from finance to facilities, why process beats panic, and how to mix smart tools and with real relationships. Now, big note, commercial wins comes from clear scope, strong vendor lanes, and owner education over and over. Now, Taly, how can listeners connect with you?
Call me. My cell, 980-253-5661. Call me, Taly, that's Taly, at spiclt.com. Either one of those. Or shout. Give me a shout.
All right. This is the Truvix. Go ahead.
Thank you for having me.
This is the Truvix Podcast, where we make operations lighter and results heavier. If this has helped, share it with a PM friend. Taly, thanks for dropping a playbook. See y'all next time.